Remember the Times Podcast.
Welcome to Remember the Times Podcast with Eric Olson and Travis King. Remember the Times Podcast is a podcast where you get to tell the world about your greatest true life stories. If you have a story you would like to share with the world, email us at rttimespodcast@gmail.com. And we're on. Hey, Eric, what's up?
Hey, Eric.
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
All right.
I heard you had some adventures.
Yep. Just got back into town last night from Florida. We were down there at the Big D.
Nice.
And everybody is down there right now.
Yeah.
It was packed.
I wasn't.
I wasn't either.
It was packed.
Was it nice and warm?
Yeah. It was pretty hot down there for this time of year, and everybody was there.
I saw some pictures on social media.
Yep.
That your beautiful wife posted.
Yeah.
I was going to comment about her selection of T-shirts that she has put on your body.
Yep.
Because, it was a silent nod to
Yeah.
the Big D.
Well, yeah. Like, they make me these shirts, and they kind of want me to wear them to blend in, because they know that, if I really show up at the park and I'm dressed myself, it's probably going to be a Down or a Pantera shirt
Right.
to wear to the most happiest place on on earth.
I just thought it was funny.
They make them for you?
Yeah, I didn't know, the Arendelle shirt.
There's some girl somewhere, and she prints these things up.
Gotcha.
There's one really cool one that my suggestion that was made up that is my favorite is the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a shirt and she took a picture?
Nah, I sent.
Because I want to see this.
Yeah, Jill sent that lady it was just like a cover picture of that Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. And the motto is that he struck fear in the hearts of evil men.
You
and
have
he would
it on
scream.
right there.
Yeah. And he would scream. He would have this real loud, like crazy scream.
Uh-huh.
And, people would freak out. And, it was back when Disney was back in the golden age of Disney, when it was good.
Yeah, see, that was the one that I thought was actually a really cool shirt. The Arendelle shirt?
Yeah, that was,
Oh, yeah.
that was another one that they had printed up.
Yeah, that's cool. Is it vinyl? I'm more interested in
It's a vinyl. It's a vinyl print.
The only thing I thought was, well, at least Eric's like being Team D here because he's wearing, the Disney shirts. But the girls,
yeah, actually, Sophia has one on right there. It's actually like a Disney shirt that she has on. It's like a Disney baseball shirt. It has some Disney character, one of the new lame characters that nobody cares about.
Oh,
Unless you're like really young. What? Yeah, it was like a Hercules shirt. Hercules.
oh, okay.
Gotcha.
And these folks?
That is Sophia's crew. They were down there, and
I gotcha.
so we hooked up with them in the park, and then we didn't see Sophia for like the rest of the day. They just ran off. The Old Georgia Bee Company has fresh local honey for you and your family. We have pint jars, we have 16-ounce squeeze containers, and 8-ounce bear squeeze containers for sale. Are you having a wedding or another event and you want to give your guests a treat to commemorate the occasion? The Old Georgia Bee Company has 1-ounce containers that we sell in bulk that we'll customize for your special occasion. Every dollar that you spend with the Old Georgia Bee Company goes directly into purchasing more honeybees and more honeybee habitat. The Old Georgia Bee Company is a family-owned operation. That's the Old Georgia Bee Company, OLDE Georgia Bee Company. Please like and share us on Facebook. We stopped at, we had to stop at Buc-ee's on the way there.
We've not been to that place.
Man, yeah, it's become, I'm telling you.
It's like Walmart of gas stations or something, right?
Yeah, it's like if Cracker Barrel had a gas station and it was like one big, and there was like 4 of them in there. It's like,
Right.
I don't know, but for that,
I hear the barbecue is like phenomenal.
everything is like really good there. So it's like
Did you go to the one below Macon?
the one in Byron.
Okay.
And it's like, I think it's like the local entertainment. I think it's like where all the locals hang out now. And if you're passing through, you stop at Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
And man, I've probably been like 8 or 9 times now. And every time I go, just hundreds of people there.
Packed.
They got 122 gas pumps. You go into this place, and they got all kinds of food and drink machines and ice cream, anything.
Beef jerky,
tons of beef jerky.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should take a
bakery
trip.
like a day trip. Go to the gas station.
Clothes. They got clothes in there.
I hear they have all kinds of stuff. Like, it's just phenomenal. I don't know.
Forget Disney, y'all.
Just go to Buc-ee's.
Just go. I'm telling you. If y'all pack up tomorrow, I'm telling you. If y'all
3-day Bucky pass.
If y'all packed up, I'm serious. And if y'all packed up and went down there tomorrow and just like
hung out for 8 hours.
It just hung out for like an hour down there. Y'all have a heck of a good time.
Station.
Right.
I'm telling you could spend an hour there just like checking out everything. People watching. You can, it's a pretty cool place. You gotta check it out.
Yeah, it's on the bucket list.
Well, apparently it's not on the bucket list, but it might need to be.
So we were texting the other day, Eric, and I wanted to ask you something, but you were in the car with your family, and I didn't. But you said you passed a place called the Puddin' Pantry.
The Puddin' Pantry.
Oh, pantry. Okay.
But
I think you left the R out of the
it
text.
said coming soon.
Yeah.
Puddin' Pantry.
Okay.
And what exactly? Where? Okay, look, on the way to the Big D.
Yeah. We had stopped by this shopping center, brand new shopping center, real nice shopping center. They like it really fancy down there now. It's kind of one of those places that are shaped like a wagon wheel in the sense that you have the village in the middle, the stores and all that kind of junk in the middle, and then all the neighborhoods are kind of circling it. So they want everybody to walk and ride their bikes to the stupid grocery store and drive their golf carts, all that kind of crap. You know what I'm talking about?
All that terrible outdoorsy exercising
all that
stuff.
Stupid stuff, man. I jump in a truck and I go get my groceries. But anyway, so we're driving out of there and we're looking at all the stuff they got in this really nice section of town. Shopping center, and coming soon, the Puddin' Pantry.
Did it say Puddin?
Pantry.
Whoa.
And I was like,
which state?
Florida.
Okay.
And the thing was, y'all, I was like, man, whoever came up with that name, fire them today. Like now. Who was going to eat there, man? And I was like...
How do you know it was food? How do you know it wasn't like a candle shop
it looked like,
a porn shop?
I think it was...
He said it was a family community area. What?
I think it was like a bakery or like a Panera or a bakery or something like that. But yeah, it was the Puddin' Pantry.
Nice.
And that's...
So next time you guys go, you're going to be like, Jill, don't you remember?
No.
There we're going...
No, it's like, Jill, we should have ate the Puddin' Pantry.
I don't know.
Oh, y'all be stopping. You'll be wearing shirts.
How could you not?
Jill will get you a shirt that says...
It'll be pink.
I'd wear it.
Or better yellow.
If it fits and like it's comfortable and it doesn't rub on my man nipples. I
don't like scratchy?
No. Oh my gosh, I bought this new shirt the other day and I put it on and I was wearing it and man, it eviscerated my man nipples.
Huh. I don't think I've ever worn a shirt that I was like, God, this is really chafing my nipples.
You want to borrow this one sometime? You want to borrow this shirt?
So Travis has worn, let me tell you, that I have found socks of his that are so so scratchy. It's like a Brillo pad that he puts on his feet.
See,
and I think, why? Why is he wearing this? But he truly does not care.
You don't have to answer that.
He doesn't care.
A guy, man, y'all. If y'all have like one thing wrong with a like underwear or socks, y'all just throw it out the window. Guys, we wear our stuff.
Wait, hold up
until
now.
It's gone.
Well, you just sat there and said
he cuts the nipples out of all his shirts.
No, that shirt hurts my nipples, but I will wear it until I wear it out. I'm not giving it to Goodwill or throwing it away or giving it away. I'm gonna wear that shirt. I'm gonna figure out a way. I don't care if I gotta use bands.
Show us your scabby nipples.
That's exactly the way it's gonna go down.
They didn't really quite get scabs, but they were pretty red.
Gotcha.
They were pretty red.
Why had to Band-Aid them?
Did you
I'll wear an undershirt. I just wear an undershirt next time.
Wear a man bra.
It was bad though.
I think you should double band-aid them and take a photo.
I'm so proud of myself, like for that shirt. I was like, man, this shirt looks good. I'm wearing a new shirt. I only average a new shirt about once every 3.5 years anyway.
Yeah, I was.
What? Isn't that new? What you have on? What is it? It looks new. It's crisp and clean and very black. It's not like
he doesn't wash his clothes.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yep, I got to keep them, fresh
keep
looking.
Them looking good.
Yep.
In the neighborhood.
We have a guest on tonight, right?
We do. We have our old friend.
Yeah.
From Gordon College, Greg Matty.
Awesome.
That should be interesting. I don't know, man. Greg. I don't know what Greg we're gonna get.
Yeah. Is there more than one?
Yeah.
Is it like the many faces of Greg?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is it like multiplicity?
I don't know if we're going to get a combative Greg. I don't know if we're going to get a laid back Greg.
Right. So
I do not know. So we're going to see what Greg's got for us.
Awesome.
Nice. Multiplicity.
Yep. And then I'll have to insert my song again. Everybody seemed to like my song from last week.
Oh, that song is awesome. I love it.
That's the only thing everybody said was like, I really liked your song.
Who said that?
What did you play that on?
The ukulele. Where is Riley's ukulele?
I took it and put it up so I wouldn't be tempted to serenade y'all tonight.
So are you going to play it live tonight? You're going to play it live before you go on?
No, I recorded it.
Why wouldn't you play it live?
No, I can't play it live. I don't even remember it. It took a long time to get that right.
It's not like Eric. Eric sits down on the bass.
It sounds just like that. It's like Leo Fender's in the room. Wow.
And then Travis is over here going.
I did it. Like I told her what I was going to do, and she was like, "No, that's awful. That sounds like a serial killer." And
there you go.
So she sold it. I was like, yes, we got to put that in there. And the kids, I was in here doing it, and they were like, what are you doing? That's awful.
It's just funny. It really is funny.
But when she heard it, she couldn't stop laughing. She made me play it like 9 times.
Can you just play it now so we can...
I don't have it hooked up right now. I can insert it here.
If this is your first time tuning in, man, y'all listen to last week's show because we had it was a wild one. It was about as bat-wing crazy as you can get with my sister getting into a fight with people at this party, and it was quite an experience. And also motorcycles flipping out of my ditch over my pickup truck.
Yeah, that was amazing. And then there was a whole cat scenario going on. I mean, this is sort of raw here. We're kind of right. Everything.
Don't want to forget the cats.
Yeah, no.
They'll be back, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean they do live here.
Welcome to the Disney and Cats podcast. We're glad you're here to listen to all the stories about Disney and cats and podcasts. I'm your host, Glenn Dennis.
Don't breathe into the microphone.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm tired of cats and Disney. No more. It's banned.
I don't understand how you could ever be tired of cats.
Like, y'all gotta stop this.
Disney.
Y'all gotta stop this. I'm ready to play podcast.
We have a guest. We have a guest. Be my guest in listening to our guest. Welcome our guest. Tonight's guest is Greg Maddy. What's up, Greg? It's Travis.
Hey, man. How's it going?
What's up, man? Eric's here and
Hey, Greg.
my
Hey,
wife.
guys.
Melissa decided to join us again.
My favorite person.
Oh, that's funny.
How you been?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, guys. How's your night going so far?
It's going. It's much better now that it's Friday.
We need some help today. We're not as funny as we normally are.
It's been a week.
That's pretty sad.
So you're gonna have to. We're kind of banking on you now.
No, y'all don't even know. Greg, would you eat at a place called the Pudding Pantry?
I don't think I could pass that up, actually. I might get off the interstate for a place called the Pudding.
We did.
Eric did.
We did.
Dude, I don't blame you. You live in the life.
You said Eric didn't shirt. It needs to be butter yellow.
Well, I mean, I can't say anything. Coming back from South Carolina one time, I drove 10 miles off the interstate, I think it was, to go to a place called Yellow Mama's Music Barn.
Yeah.
And it was, we get in there, it's all these Asian ladies selling old vintage guitars and stuff. It was crazy.
That's pretty funny.
It sounds insane.
I didn't even think like that.
It was awesome. You should go there.
Where's this?
But the pudding is, I believe, South Carolina somewhere. Yeah, I've got a T-shirt.
That on the border place is what, in North Carolina, South Carolina. That's like this little Mexican city. That's pretty bizarre too.
This place looked like it was an old hardware store or something. They converted it into an old music store.
That's funny.
And they had like a '68 Marshall Plexi in there. They had all kinds of crazy stuff in there. And there's this like 80-year-old Asian lady running in the front, and all her family are running it.
Yeah.
And bars on the window and everything. It was pretty great, but it's no pudding pantry, I'll tell you that.
Was she knowledgeable about what she had?
I have no idea. I couldn't understand a word she said the whole time. She could have designed the Plexi for all I know.
Buy the guitar. Buy it.
But tell me about the pudding pantry. That's what I want to hear about. Eric, what'd you have there?
Well, that was the downside of it. It wasn't open yet. It was coming soon, the pudding pantry.
But the next time he goes.
The next time he goes down for the big D.
Yes.
That's right. What would have been funny is if that was...
We didn't even talk about that. That's what he called it, the big D. Wow.
Dude, it will forever be known as the big D now.
You just said going
He listened
down.
to the podcast. Going down.
Sorry, Eric. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry.
Eric will be like, he'll call Travis up later. He'll be like, Travis, we can't have that on the podcast. You're gonna have to edit that out. Travis, you're gonna have to edit that out.
He made me edit out one.
Well, to be fair, if you replay it, I said going down to the big D. The article was different. You heard what you wanted to hear, guys.
It didn't matter. That too was so quiet that you just kind of ran over it.
You know me too well, Greg.
So
I'm glad. Thanks for calling me, man. I really enjoyed, I guess as much as you can, the first 3 episodes. They've been they're getting pretty good. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait for more and more and more.
Well, I appreciate it. We got a lot of work to do, but it's fun. We're having a good time. It's a nice Friday evening pastime.
Yeah,
and we're glad you're here tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you told me the other day, you were gonna tell us a story about taking your family's car when you were 12.
Well, yeah, it wasn't exactly mine, but it was my buddy's dad's car.
It was. I'm sorry. Who was it?
It was my buddy's dad's car. It was an 82 Buick LeSabre. No, it was a Skylark. And it was powder blue with a dark top. And
How old were you?
I think I was 12.
Nice.
Pretty sure I was 12.
Was there a phone book involved? You put the phone book in there.
No.
He was probably quite tall enough at that.
Well, I had not hit my growth spurt, and I was still like straight A, never been in trouble, Greg.
Oh, wow.
And this may have been the slippery slope.
Well, Greg, what happened? Like, whose idea? How did y'all get to that? How did you get to that point? Like, what happened? What transpired?
Well, okay, so I lived in Fayetteville at the time, over there off of 54, and I had this friend named Josh who I met. He had moved in there the school year prior. I think this was like 5th grade, maybe.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, you want to spend the night?" I was like, "Sure." I'll just get out of the house, go do anything, stay away from my parents. And so I go over there, and we get in bed. And his little brother's like asleep on the floor. Not together. See, I can read your little minds.
Good night, man.
But to make a better story, we got in bed together in our tidy whities. We were just snuggling in.
And he whispered in your ear.
He's like,
Greg.
that's exactly what happened. He says, he's like, yeah, exactly. You see, I had never done anything remotely like this.
Right.
And anyway, I apologize if I stutter a little bit. I've been into the bourbon a little bit already.
That's all right.
Dang.
Years. I think I'm going to get a little deeper into that bourbon too. But anyway, so we're laying there. I'm okay with that. But
5 o'clock somewhere.
But he says, I had just fallen asleep. You know, I'm there for just sleepover, play games, whatever we're going to do. I think we had an Atari 2600. Spin the bottle, hide the weasel, whatever you're playing, So we're in there playing hide the cannoli, and he says, hey man, wake up. And I was like, what? He's like, come on, get your clothes on, we're going. I'm like, going where? He's like, come on. And he already has the window open. We live in these duplexes.
Right.
And so he's like, wait a second. He sneaks into the living room and he comes back and he's like, come on. So we climb out the window. And I'm like, already, this is the baddest thing I've ever done, is climb out the window. And he's like, come on. And all of a sudden, as he climbed out the window, I hear these keys jingling. And it was very noticeable.
Right.
And he's like, get in the car. And it was parked the driveways were so close to the house. 10 feet from the house.
Greg, just 1 second. How well did you know this kid before you went and spent the night?
We've been friends for a year.
Okay.
All right.
And
we played on the same baseball club, everything.
Was this out of character for him? Would you expect something from a dude like this, or is it?
Yeah, I totally expected it from him. I should have seen it coming.
Okay, continue.
I should have seen this coming.
Continue.
So he's like, get in the car. And I was like, why? He's like, we're going. I was like, where are we going? He's like, just get behind the wheel.
Oh, you were driving.
He was like, get in.
Well, no. Here's the deal. Here's the part. No, you're jumping ahead. But so he has this whole thing planned out, apparently. In retrospect, it was planned out as well as a 12-year-old could plan something like this out. So we get out there, and I get behind the car, and he's like, put the key in the ignition, but don't turn it on. So we push the car out of the driveway.
Well, because you don't want anyone to hear, of course. Right.
But here we're in this huge neighborhood with hundreds of homes.
Right.
And there's 2 12-year-olds pushing an 82 LeSabre or Skylark down the street.
Not noticeable at all.
Right, so we push it 4 houses down, and we get in. He starts driving. I was like, "What are we doing?" He's like, "We're driving to Christian City to pick up Jason."
So, have you ever been behind the wheel of a car prior to this?
At that point, yeah, I had driven before.
So you had an idea how it worked.
So is he driving?
Yeah,
or are you driving?
So he's driving. It's his dad's car, of course. What 12-year-old's not going to drive his dad's car if it's on the road? So dude's like he's done this before,
Okay, how far away is Fayetteville to Christian City? Because I'm thinking it's at least 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got to be 15, 18 miles maybe, something like that.
What was that Christian City that you...
What is Christian City?
Well, my recollection of it, all from the dark in the backseat of a, Buick, was pretty much just like this... We're going to this guy's house, and it's like a retirement community, basically.
Right.
So what was there? Was an old lady there with you were going to take her? Maybe coleslaw.
We're going to pick up this old lady. She liked little guys. No, but we're going to pick up this guy named Jason, and he was apparently staying with his grandmother at Christian City.
Okay.
And so I was like, why are we going to get Jason?
Another counterpart. That was
but Jason was like Baby Huey. He was a huge guy, but he was 13, so he was the biggest beer. Yeah. And so we're driving. We cut up, and you guys, I don't know how well you know Fayette County, but we drove up and cut over to 92. We're headed over to Christian City, and I'm just freaking out the whole time. Just imagine what my dad's going to do to me when he finds out I did this. because, you know, I didn't get a lot of butt kickings, but when I did, my dad made them, you know, memorable.
And you were pretty sure you were going to get caught at this point.
In the good old Southern way.
Yeah. And so it was surreal that I can't believe I'm doing this. So I hyperventilating a little bit, you know. And so we go out there and we pull in. Apparently Josh knew right where to go in Christian City. He had it all mapped out in his head.
Nice.
This was before the internet, too.
Exactly. I mean, this is before, you know, cell phones, any of that stuff. So I didn't. Exactly. I don't remember seeing a map or anything. So he had really worked this thing through.
He broke the map, so there was no evidence.
There was no evidence.
You know?
There's no evidence.
Right.
And so we turn down off of 92, get into this retirement community, and Josh pulls over on the side of the road, and we get out of the car, and we're like going from tree to tree in the dark through this retirement community.
Oh my gosh. You just drove from Fayetteville. Why are you scared now?
Good night.
Because I don't know if they got security, man. You don't know what they got out there. So we get in, and Josh like makes a beeline straight for this glass sliding back door, and we hop over these bushes, and Jason just is waiting for us like a ghost in the window, and he comes out and he's like, "Man, I didn't think you guys were ever going to get here." And I'm just like in stunned silence.
Now, did you know the guy that y'all were picking up?
I had met him like 4 times.
Okay.
But I mean, I saw him at school. It wasn't somebody I knew. But I knew from my brief encounters with him that he was one of those guys that was usually up to no good. So he probably would have hung out with you guys.
Right. At least,
but
no, I was about disclaimer. You guys being Eric and Travis.
Yeah, you're an angel, I'm sure.
Yes.
But so we go back and we get in the car. I'm like, okay, well, what are we doing, guys? They're like, we're just gonna drive around. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Right. So I have no idea why we even came to get this guy. We're just gonna hang out with him. And I was like, so what are we doing? We're just gonna drive around. So we drive back to Fayetteville. All right, it's 3 a.m. at this point, because the dashboard tells me it is. And at this point, I'm like, and it had one of those analog clocks. You remember those analog clocks on the dashboards of cars? It had one of those. So I'm looking at it, like, at 3 a.m, I'm 12 years old, and I'm riding around in this old Buick with these 2 hoodlums.
Yeah, the only people that are drunks and cops.
Yeah, right.
Right. So it's exactly. Well, it's one of the 2, right?
Right.
So we're driving along, we get back to Fayetteville, and we're driving down Hood Avenue, over by the elementary schools and stuff, and they're like, we're going to go play on the playground. And so
That's something you never hear at 3 a.m. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we decided we're playing on the playground, and we turn onto Hood Avenue, make the left, go towards Fayetteville, and promptly run out of gas.
Oh no!
So, and look, between us, we had exactly $0. All right.
Now y'all didn't think that out very well.
Well, I didn't think anything through Josh's plan, and I told you, disclaimer.
He worked so hard turning the map of the plan into his head. He didn't think about gas.
Now, to be fair, he did end up in prison later down the road.
Oh no!
So his plans haven't always worked out, but So again, I did say he planned it out as well as a 12-year-old could.
Right.
We don't know anything about fuel. We just know that cars move when you push the pedal, apparently. And so we ran out of gas, and we're just sitting there. And every time a car would come by, we're sitting there for like 10 minutes trying to figure out what the heck we're going to do. We're all ducking down, hiding, make the car look like it's empty. I'm like,
that's how you get help. Let's flag down for help. Let's just hide until somebody finds us.
So Jason has the idea. He's like, let's go to the gas station. I'm like, we don't have any money. He's like, well, somebody will give us money. I'm like, 3 12-year-olds or a 13-year-old, 2 12-year-olds walking to a gas station at 3 o'clock in the morning. What could go wrong?
Or gas money.
Right. Apparently, we'll play hide the cannoli for some money. There went my life down the tubes. So we start walking down Hood Avenue, and we see this car coming, and we're like, we couldn't get off the road fast enough, and we're dead certain it's a cop because he starts slowing down. Yeah. And then we realize it's this red Camaro, like a nice one, like an IROC, I think it was. Yeah. And so now, before I tell you this, I told Erica in advance, this movie sounds like a movie. The story sounds like a movie in the 80s. But it's 100% true. I love to tell stories. I love to embellish them, but this is not embellished at all. Okay. So this Camaro slows down, and we're like, shit, what's and then the window, and we thought it was the coolest thing in the world because it had electric windows, which none of us can afford a car with electric windows. It's fancy, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
And the window rolls down, and I hear this voice say, y'all need some help? And it's like a kid's voice.
Get out of here. Oh, no.
And so we look in, and it's this kid from our class.
Nuh-uh.
I swear to God.
What kind of a school did you go to?
Okay, yeah.
I went to Fayetteville Elementary.
God, Ferris, that you
Well, we're like, I didn't know him, but I knew his face from our class, and I knew that he was a richer kid, and his family had some money.
He had windows that went down.
He had electric windows, He's a Rockefeller apparently,
right?
And so he's like, y'all need help, and they knew him, so they're like, oh man, we're driving our dad's car, we're running out of gas. He's like, hop in, man, we'll go back to the house. And so we turn around, we drive like 2 blocks. And there's his house, and we pull in, and we're like, dude, what are you doing out? He's like, what are you guys doing out? And he's like, well, my dad went to Vegas with his new girlfriend and left me here with my sister. And she's over at her boyfriend's house. His sister was like 15 or 16.
Right.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
And he was 49.
Yeah. So we walk into this really nice house, and the first thing we say is that we walk in there, and the kid goes, hey, y'all want a beer?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm already beside myself with the night,
Right.
And
you were a very good, upstanding citizen, and these other 2 boys have already corrupted you.
That's right.
Add a 3rd one into the mix, and this guy's giving you beer. I completely
wait a second
understand.
Now, I want to freeze it right there. Whatever was inside of Greg, it was going to come out whether he took this beer or jumped into the IROC or anything.
You don't know that.
No, I know.
You don't.
Continue, Greg.
Eric, I think that's a fair assessment.
Just trying to give you the benefit of it out there.
No, I wouldn't do that. But so Josh and Jason are like, hell yeah, we'll get some beers, and I'm just sitting on the couch waiting to find out when I'm going to die.
You were waiting for the strippers to come out at that point.
Dude, at this point, who knows, man?
You would have made as much sense as anything that's happened to the story so far.
His sister could come home. I could lose my virginity. Who knows?
Good grief, man. We just went from explicit to X-rated. What is happening here?
I kept it clean. Virginity is a nice word.
Okay.
But so eventually we go into the garage, and he's got a gas can. He takes us back. We put whatever gases he's got in this gas can in the car. And I'm like, okay, what do we do now? He's like, we got to drive Jason back to Christian City. So that was the whole point, was to get him to drive around and take him back, apparently.
Right.
And I think we had maybe an 1/8 of a tank of gas in this old car. And we drive it all the way back to Fayetteville, never thinking that his dad's going to miss the gas, because his dad's got to get up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to work. His dad was a brick mason and a very rough character.
Right.
So we get back to the neighborhood. We cut the engine off and let it coast towards the driveway, push it up in the driveway, and we start getting back through the window, get our clothes off, snuggle up again, and then and then he's like,
else fun.
We're gonna play hide and seek.
Oh, what in the world?
So anyway, I'm just about to fall asleep. He's like, oh man, I forgot to put the keys on the table. So I was like, well, go put them back on the table. And the table was this old wire spool, like an old wooden wire spool that used for the, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Like the little H-shaped.
How old was his dad? Like 20?
No, his dad, I don't know how old he was, but all I know is I had a revelation many years later. The first time I smelled pot smoke, and I was like, that's why Josh's house smelled funny all the time. Because his dad always had like a hemostat laying in the ashtray next to his chair.
Right.
And I was like, oh, it all makes sense now.
It's just it's hard to picture a responsible adult like with a child and having, it still has the power cable spool as the living room coffee table.
Well, to be fair, they were from Fort Payne, Alabama.
I take back everything I said. Man.
Thank you very much. And so he's like, come on, you got to go with me. I'm like, no, I don't. Just put the keys on the table. And he's like, no, come on, we're going together. So we're sneaking in there, and we're like feet from the table, and a cigarette lighter comes on.
Oh.
And his dad's sitting there in the chair waiting on us.
Oh, wow.
And he lights a cigarette. He goes, y'all boys have a good time?
Oh.
And we were like, yes, sir. He's like, I hope so, because that's all fixing to change. And he whooped my butt like I was his worst child.
No.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he whooped me. He whooped him. Josh was hollering like a scalded dog.
Drove over to Christian City, whooped that boy, and then went.
Yeah, we went over there and gave it something. Well, Jason was in on it too. But
and
so I get
the
home.
Other boy's name was the Iraq boy.
I still have no idea who he was. I could point the house out if we drove down Hood Avenue to this day. But so I get home that next morning. And my dad already knows somehow.
Oh, somehow.
I'm guessing Josh's mom heard all the commotion and called my parents. Then I got it again, man. And it was just horrible. But that is my 12-year-old car theft story. And
that's pretty remarkable.
I'm surprised that you didn't get pulled over by the police.
I know, my
Especially
gosh.
Fayette County.
Yes.
And I want to say right now, I want to go on record for Mr. Iraq. That kid, that is a solid dude from that class that would stop and help you guys out like that. I mean, that's a solid dude.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
He's like, here, let me give you some gas for your car,
Here's some gas.
Here's
and
some
then it's
beer.
Like, he's like, just chill out, guys. Here's a beer, man. This will make your evening so much better.
It was
Well, I
nice
want to
that
know
he got
how
you the
cool he
gas.
turned out.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he did. He did. I bet he turned out to be a really solid guy later down the line because he walked in like he just owned his own house, really. Like, he's like, y'all want a beer? Help yourself.
That dude had no reason to help you guys.
No.
And just did.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. And, it looks like looking back as we get older, it's like most of my best stories are misadventure where I didn't know it was coming.
Right.
Like the time I accidentally bought crack, or
Oh my gosh! Okay.
I asked for cigarettes.
I don't even want to know.
yeah,
I wanted a Big Mac.
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you
Not so.
accidentally buy crack?
What's that?
How do you accidentally buy crack?
Oh, this is a good one too, I guess.
All right. Well.
Well, anyway, I don't know if you ever met my friend Jason, but he was a character.
Yes, he was.
And he was one of the best men I've ever known. Woefully misunderstood, but a good man. And so one day, Jason calls me. He is playing roller hockey or something like that. He's like, hey, man, I got a buddy with me. We want to go do a doobie cruise. So we're going to pick you up. I'm like, all right, I'm down with it. And so we get in the car with them, and it turns out the buddy, now remind you, we're like 25 at the time. The buddy's this 17-year-old kid that plays hockey with him.
Right.
And he's like, and Jason's like, don't worry, man, he's cool. So I'm like, okay, get right. He's cool. It's not 21 Jump Street or anything. But so I'm like, okay, break it out. I'll roll it up. And he's like, well, we don't have anything. We thought you did. I'm like, dude, I have nothing. And so basically they wanted me to get him high.
Right.
And so I was like, well, look, what do you guys have for money? We can stop and grab something. And he's like, well, I got $5. And the other's like, I got $2. And I'm like, as any well-bred 25-year-old has, I've got $3 to my name.
Right.
and instead of eating with this money and putting fuel in my car, we're going to buy weed in the ghetto. So I get our $10 in singles, 10 singles, and we drive over to 2nd Street in Griffin. And I'm like, slow down right here. And like 6 guys come out of the bushes.
Oh my god!
On this corner, yeah, it's like they're all like, it's like, you ever been to the Varsity? Like, what do you have? What do you have?
Right.
The same thing at the car.
Yeah.
And so like, man, I was like, just give me a dime. And he's like, what do you got? I was like, here, I gave him my stripper money, the 10 ones. And he throws his bag on the dash, and Jason drives away. So we're driving, and I get the bag. I'm like, that is the thinnest dime bag I've ever seen. And I'm just like pinching it, and I was like, there's nothing to even break up. I was like, I think we got robbed. And so we drive under a street light, and I look, and it's like this little square, and I'm like, oh no. And so I look at it, pop it out of my hand. I was like, oh man. And he's like, what? What's wrong? I was like, it's crack.
Oh my god!
Who's got the receipt? We're taking this shit back.
Like, is there a return policy on this stuff? Like, can you go back and be like, excuse me, sir,
Hey,
I think we got the wrong thing.
Mr. Drug Dealer.
Well,
Getting a dime bag of weed.
Oh, right.
right? And that's exactly what Jason suggested. He's like, man, we're not crackheads. He's like, we're taking that stuff back. I'm like, we are not taking this back. They don't have an exchange program. And so he's like adamant. No, man, we'll just tell them what happened. And I'm like,
take that back.
Yeah, you take it back. They're reasonable people. They'll understand.
Oh yeah, all 6 of them.
Anybody pops out from a bush, surely.
There's been a misunderstanding. I understand you're a busy man.
They're reasonable businessmen. They have a bush for an office.
Exactly. We didn't do anything to it.
I'm calling
it's
the Better
still
Business
all here.
Bureau.
Right.
Don't let me give you a bad review.
Right. What are you going to do? Call the cops at this point, right? So we're driving down the main drag in Griffin, and I was like, in my brain, I'm like, we're going to get pulled over. I'm going to get busted with crack, and I'm going to be known as a crackhead. And so I just chuck it out the window.
Hey guys, we gotta get rid of this. Let's smoke it.
Yeah, so I just chucked my $10 of crack out the window. And we're driving, and Jason, like 2 blocks later, he's like, hey, I got an idea.
Let's go back and get that crack bag, and when you sell it to a crackhead, get our money back, and then go buy the weed.
Jason says, you know, I've never smoked crack before.
Oh my
And I was like, he's like, he's like, get that crack. And I'm like, I threw it out the window. He's like, what? That's the last $10 we had. He's like, I just wanted to get high.
You didn't have crack or a cheeseburger. You had nothing.
Well, I had nothing. I had a story is all I had.
That's a pretty funny story, though.
And meanwhile, we forgot about the 17-year-old in the back seat.
Oh.
Who at this point is white as a sheet and freaking out that we're going to get busted with crack. And his dad's a lawyer, apparently. So he's like, man, can't let my dad find out we got crack in the car. I'm like, man, both of them are illegal. He's like, yeah, but crack's bad.
We got crack in a 17-year-old in the car.
Right. So that could have gone any kind of way, you know. But so yeah, I think Eric's right. Whatever was in me was going to come out one way or another.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, I know he got you kicked out of the dorm, though, right?
Wait.
Oh, man, that's a story.
Kicked out of no dorms. I didn't. That's crazy talk.
Eric always does things, and then he's like, "No, I didn't do that." Like he tries to be Mr. Innocent, but we know.
Man, I own up.
know.
I own up. Greg, did I get you kicked out of the dorm?
You did not.
See?
But you did buy the alcohol.
I'll own up to that.
Inadvertently.
I'll allow it.
Because Eric was just, he was just as surly as you can imagine back in the day. And everything was stupid.
Right.
And
Wait. It's not. It hasn't changed.
So you can just be silent now, Eric.
Continue.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Let me just throw this in. Me and Eric had a whole weekend one time when we went down to Destin, Florida, and we could have like hooked up with girls or whatever we wanted to do. We stood in bars and freaking chuckled like Beavis and Butthead the entire time because that's what was popular on MTV. Everybody thought we were complete weirdos.
Yes, because you were.
Yep.
But did you hook up?
We didn't hook up with nobody.
No.
Exactly.
Each other.
They were playing hide the cannoli.
Hey, you want to do something fun?
Yeah, so everybody went through that stage if you were a boy in that era, I guess. But I remember walking outside wanting to get drunk as a kid who I never really drank when I was younger until I got to college, and then it was like all bets are off.
Right.
Man, I must have met all you guys, all you Griffin guys. I must have met y'all at the height of you like that. Because like when I met you guys, I was like, gosh, I guess these all the time is just drink. Like I thought that you guys were just like old pros that just drink.
Oh
beer
no, man! I think the fact that I was drinking Mickey's malt liquor should have been a clue. The old Double Deuce Hornet.
Man,
How
always
old
sent me
were
to
you?
I was just 21.
Yeah.
How old was Greg?
Greg was what?
19 or 20, yeah, something like that.
That's the only reason why they hung out with Eric.
Yeah,
he could
that was
get
it.
alcohol.
I got him alcohol.
At first, probably, yeah. At first,
And then you realized what a funny character he is.
I'm glad you said that, Greg, because it was always that 40-ounce Mickey's thing. And
yeah.
Yeah, and the weird bottle, weird label. Had to go to the other side of town to get it.
So
just across the tracks.
Yeah.
So Eric bought the alcohol.
Oh, Eric bought the hooch, yeah. And we had a friend who was kind of a madman named Derek. And Derek had this wild idea that we were going to come in. He had this idea that he was adamant on. We were all going to have this big party and watch NYPD Blue, a show that I had never seen before. And it was like a big deal for him. Apparently, Caruso was the man.
Every Thursday, he would want to do that every Thursday. And then finally, we were like, okay, we'll play NYPD Blue with you or whatever. Just shut up.
It was a show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was into it.
Oh, very, very much so, man. Total Caruso fanboy, apparently. And so we're like, he's like, we got to have a party. We're going to get drunk. And he was like Mad Dog 2020 kind of guy,
Right.
And so we go to the liquor store. Well, first of all, we go outside and we see if we can find Eric's Firebird. And if you remember the Firebird,
The winky
the
Firebird.
dark blue, the faded dark blue Firebird with the black front
One
end.
headlight was always
one headlight that pops up and one that stays down. Winky.
Yeah.
I wish we'd had those eyelashes for the cars at the time because that would have been.
It looked like it was winking at you.
Have you guys make fun of my Firebird?
That car.
Yep. The
Wow.
stories of that car. I'm sorry. Go
Dude,
ahead.
even the busted car that it was, Eric, you were a god with that car. It was pretty awesome. And I think your dad just knew how uncool you were and he bought you that car. So he tricked us into liking you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we're like, let's go out. Where's Eric's car? And we sit on the bench and wait for Eric to pull in the parking lot. And he'd get out of the car with the backpack and he'd be coming in the dorm. And we're like, hey, man. He's like, oh, not again. And so we'd give them like $2 or something to take us over
always
there.
A change. It was they never like handed me like $5 or even like $3. It was always in change.
You'd send him out with money, and he'd come back with a little tiny bag of crack.
Yeah, usually. Well, we won a dime. And so we get all this beer apparently, and I don't even remember watching the show. I was hammered, I'm sure. And so it's a Thursday night, right? We all go home on Friday, and I come back on Monday. There's a note on my dorm door, like Sunday night or something like that. It's like, you need to go see the dean on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. So I was like, what the heck?
Dean? Like the dean of the school?
Yeah. No, it's just a dude named Dean.
Yeah.
Stop.
You gotta go see Dean. He'll be in front of the student union.
RA or whatever.
Why wasn't I invited to your party?
Right, exactly. I like it my pinky blue.
Blue too.
So it was
school.
I mean,
yeah, it was
what happened with the RA? Isn't there some sort of like process?
Man, I don't know. I got kicked out. I don't know. I wasn't there long enough to know.
Like, serious.
It went up the chain. Security probably found it. Greg, you tell the story.
Well, that'd be nice, yeah. So I go see the dean. It's Dr. Tobin, this lady, and she's like, well, we conducted a dormitory inspection over the weekend, and alcohol was found in your room. And I was like, but it wasn't mine. And it wasn't.
And she said, but this little bag of crack with your fingerprint on it is.
Yeah, we found this on the side of the road, Mr. Matty.
So go ahead.
Bush said it belonged to you.
That's right. He showed me the receipt. Now I've just got this vision of crack dealers with those little change things on their hips.
Oh my gosh.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's like, you got, all right, well, if it's not yours, tell me whose it is. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you whose it is, but it wasn't mine.
So whose was
like,
it?
Well, it was yours, Eric. No. Honestly, I don't know whose it was, but I know it wasn't mine because it was Bud Light, and I couldn't afford Bud Light.
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't you tell her that?
Continue, Greg. I'm not going to throw him any smoke to that. I can't. I just couldn't do it. So continue. That probably wasn't mine.
Well, it probably was, yeah. But so I have no idea whose it is, and she's like, "Well, look, you have to be out of the dormitory by tomorrow afternoon." And I was like, "Well, where am I going to go? You know, I've already paid." And she's like, "Well, but you violated the student oath, X, Y, and Z." I said, "But I didn't. Somebody else did, and I just won't tell you who it was."
Right.
She says, "It doesn't matter." So I was like, "My dad is going to murder me."
And then he's going to murder you.
Then he's going to murder you. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I go to Eric and I'm like, hey, I want to get drunk.
Oh, gosh.
Can I hang out in your dorm? I just got kicked out of mine.
Right. And so he's like, all right, man, let's go to the liquor store. So I went and I think I had like $4. Like, that's all the money I had in the world.
Right.
And we go and we buy like as much Zima. Remember Zima?
Yeah.
Like girl malt liquor?
Yeah. Eric wouldn't spot you any money?
No, of
Eric
course
didn't
not.
have any money.
You saw the car.
Oh my gosh.
Eric didn't have any money.
We drive across the tracks and I buy $4 for the Zima, which apparently is a lot of Zima.
Well, back then, yes.
Yeah, it was. It was like, this is like, gotta be like 94, 93, something like that.
Right.
But so we go there and I've got a backpack full of Zima and we're sitting down in the lobby of the dormitory. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Eric's there. I'm just getting hammered on this stuff, drinking out of a solo cup. And I don't remember, Eric, if you remember,
Kind of a sippy
there was
cup.
right. It might as well have been at that point. It could have been a bottle, But so we had this little old lady who was a security guard, and she looked like Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls. And all the security guards had this Suzuki Samurai. It was powder blue with a blue light on top, and they'd drive it around campus.
Right.
So she pulls up. I see the blue light. She walks in, and I'm sitting there just getting roasted. And Eric's sitting there, and we're just giggling our butts off. And she's like, what are y'all doing so early? I was like, well, it's my last day in the dorm. She's like, why? And I was like, I got kicked out for some alcohol. It wasn't mine. She's like, oh, that is terrible. I was like, I don't even drink. And I'm just got hammered. I'm just hammered. And she's like, well, that's terrible. They're so unfair to you. And Eric's just giggling, like, you know, that laugh he does still to this day.
Right.
And so she leaves, and Eric and I are sitting there, and I was like, you know what? F this place, man.
I'm going to be the old lady drunk, too.
Right. See, she wants to play hide the cannoli. And so I go over. There was this bank of mailboxes that you put a combination and you get your mail there. But there's 100 of them maybe.
Right.
And if you turn them right, people would leave them set to the last number of their combination, so they just turn and open it.
Right.
So I opened every one that would open, and I'm looking around and I see a fire extinguisher. And I grabbed the fire extinguisher. Like Eric told you, this stuff was bound to come out eventually.
Right. My life is burning down. I've got a fire extinguisher to put this shit out.
So, I'm going to make sure I go out in a blaze of glory. Right. In my Zima-induced state, I go over and I grab it and I just empty this fire extinguisher into every one of these mailboxes. Yeah, and there's like a little mail room behind it, but this fire extinguisher is green powder everywhere.
Right.
And then I just left it on the floor and went to bed.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's not exactly how it happened.
And the truth comes out.
There was more.
Was there more?
Oh yes. There was like this big waxing machine or something in the corner.
Oh, I remember this part now.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing?
What's a waxing machine?
Wait, hold up.
Like you wax the floor with.
Oh.
Like a buffer.
Okay.
I remember this, and I know why, too.
Yeah, I think the name of the brand was Jimmy. Go on, grow up. So there's this wax
Says
machine.
the guy who says waxing machine.
So Greg gets a hold of this waxing machine. He plugs it in. And Greg, I remember the story a little bit different. I don't think we were hanging out, man. You just showed up on the scene. You just closed in on my area of operation and you started all this stuff.
Oh, you were studying, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Don't let Eric fool you. He did not study.
This is the one time he studied.
And I was watching this puppet show from my vantage point. Like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So you get this. I was already freaked out by the fire extinguisher, man. I was like, what is this? I was freaked out by that because it was so unlike you. And you were just, you let it go. The fire extinguisher, and I'm still trying to recover from the shock of the fire extinguisher, and then you start getting the waxing machine out, and you start
waxing.
Yeah, you just
waxing all over the place.
Yeah,
I got my wax everywhere.
Apparently, Jimmy.
You plugged it in. You crank this thing up, and it sounds like a jet engine going off in the parking lot, man. It's like loud.
Yeah,
and. You parked it in front of the RA,
the resident advisor.
Yeah,
he was a professor.
The adult that lived there in the old apartment. I saw that guy one time. I don't think that guy lived there, man. I saw that guy one time. I saw him. I checked in that place. I saw him the next day trying to find out who it was that left the waxer.
Well, let me tell you, there was method to the madness there, Eric, because it turned out that he was, I'll call him by name, but Professor McGonagall, I believe was his name, and he was the theater professor at the time. And what I found out during the course of this problem I was in was that 2 theater majors had found alcohol in their room as well, but they were called collector's items, and they didn't have to get kicked out of the dorm.
Right.
And I was like, that is some garbage. So I took this waxing machine, as he calls it, and I put this floor buffer up against the door of this guy.
It has a name, Eric. Floor buffer.
Yeah, waxing machine.
Whatever.
So I took the waxing machine and I put it right up against his door, and turned it on. It was just vibrating, making all kinds of ungodly noises.
Everything off the table that's mine, and like my stuff is spread out everywhere. I'm trying to grab my stuff and
That's the fastest Eric has ever moved.
So it is confirmed that Eric is the sloth from Zootopia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but he's quicker than you think. You look at him, you not think he's quick as he is. But yeah, he was like Jesse Owens getting out of there, man. But I'd forgotten all about that part, Eric. That makes that story so much better.
The next day that you get called in, they're like, you know what? We did decide that you just had some collector's items, but we found a fire extinguisher
and a
waxing machine with your fingerprints all over it.
That's right. There was wax everywhere.
There's wax all over the side of the dorm.
That's right. All over the mirror.
And you're all manscaped. It's just weird.
Oh my gosh.
So I moved out of the dorm after that.
And you hid out at Jason's house so your dad didn't find out.
Yeah, I did. I lived in Jason's house for like 8 weeks. His mom was like, okay. And then, man, just the trouble we got in over there, but it was nuts. And my roommate at the time was this really good friend of mine named Chris, who was a stand-up guy. He worked like 40 plus hours a week and went to school.
Dude.
Yeah.
And just a great guy. And he was my voice of reason. He would constantly wrangle me and smack me around literally whenever I needed it. And just to this day, a stalwart supporter of everything I've ever tried to do.
Well, maybe he'll follow us and give us.
Yeah, he might. He might hear this someday.
He'll be like, okay, y'all, no more of this conversation. We've got to stop this.
No more hiding the cannolis.
Yeah. No more waxing machine talk.
When you said that was a Bud Light there in your fridge, yeah.
That's Eric's beer of choice.
Eric's.
That was mine.
Well, it's only taken me 30 years to find out.
There's no question that was mine. I'm man. But in the same way to say that I got you kicked out is almost like saying that, oh, well, I'll give you the keys to my car.
And you drove to Christian City and bought crack.
That's true.
That was my
12-year-old crack dealer with my change machine on my hip.
That was my fault, too. But,
yeah, probably.
So
But
Eric cannot hold his liquor or alcohol very well at all.
I can't.
At all.
I can't.
We once had a Halloween thing, and Eric came over. We had pumpkin seeds we were eating. And
I roasted pumpkin seeds, and Eric thought that was just like, woohoo!
wait, were there anything special about these pumpkin
they were
seeds?
just roasted pumpkin seeds. I think
No,
they were
put,
different
like,
flavors.
I put different flavors.
Yeah, but it's not like you put like weed in them or anything like that.
No.
Okay, because I got some stories about Eric and some of that stuff too. So. But I know there's a chance your children may want to hear this, and you want to hide it from the truth like Darth Vader.
Yeah, but they'll be fine with all the other talk of.
Yeah, I'm fine the cannoli.
Getting you kicked out of college, out of your dorm room. Yeah.
So Eric had 2 Bud Lights that night. That's a Halloween thing, and me and Melissa go to bed, and we hear sound like somebody dumping like gravel in a jar. And then I heard some coughing after, and that was him throwing up pumpkin seeds into the porcelain. They were bouncing off.
You gotta make the noise. You have to make the noise.
I can't make that noise.
I can still, in my mind, I can still hear the sound that they made.
I heard you going.
So bad. It was so
I think
bad.
I hit the foyer. I may have like threw up in the foyer first. And then,
if you did, you cleaned it up. I had no idea about that. I just heard it hitting the porcelain because I got up and I was like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And Jill goes, "Eric's throwing up pumpkin seeds."
I can almost hear the exasperation in her voice.
It was like it happened all the time.
This guy just doing this again.
I don't know what I see in him, but
neither do we.
Poor Jill.
Oh man, I put her through the ringer.
Oh man, I tell you, it's just a wonder that we've made it as far as we have. Some of the things we've been through and some of the things we've done.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
We're going to be entertaining old dudes if we can remember it.
That might be the problem.
Yeah,
for sure.
I already know what I've done to my brain, so I'm going to start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Probably a good idea. We should all do that.
I think everyone who lived, you know, the 70s babies who lived through the 80s and 90s, we should all write stuff. Like, we should all have memoirs. We should all write things down, because there was things that happened that, you know, there was no cameras, there was no cell phones. Like,
that's right. It was right.
Thank God.
Right
no
before.
kidding. No kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate you talking to us.
It was awesome.
It was really entertaining, and
You got to come back.
You turned the night around. It was really good.
Well, that's great, man. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon sometime.
all right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
girls. We said hi.
All right, take care, guys.
All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
night.
Greg. All right. Bye.
Do you have a story to tell? Do you have a story that's so crazy you believe it should live on the internet forever? Do you know these stories that Travis and I talk about, and you want to give your side of it and set us straight? Did you fight us in a parking lot somewhere? Did you almost fight us outside of a dive bar in Atlanta one time? That's okay, because we would love to hear from you as well. Please email us at rttimespodcast@gmail.com. I'm glad we got Greg on tonight.
Oh, that was great.
That was awesome.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Those are pretty remarkable stories.
I think Greg's got plenty more. I really do.
We need to have Greg on like monthly or every 2 weeks or
Give
something.
Greg his own segment.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe it should be Travis, Eric, and Greg podcast.
Or just Eric, Melissa, and Greg podcast.
No. I don't know how I got wrapped up into this whole thing anyway, but here I am.
Here you are.
Yup. That was pretty funny though.
Yeah, I'm telling you that all those Griffin guys that I was friends with, I met going down there at Gordon College. It was that was a good crew of guys to hang out with.
So I'll say this about Greg, because I went down to visit you. I think I was working. I quit college and went to work, and I went down there, and I had my sketchbook or something, and he saw it, and he's like, "No, you gotta. This is what you gotta do." So I really owe Greg, like.
Did he really?
Yeah. So he got me to meet the art teacher down there. She looked at my stuff. I got like a portfolio thing set up, and so I went and so that was the start of my my art career. So, yep.
Wow.
Man, that's cool. I didn't know that.
That is really cool.
Yeah. I meant to actually say that tonight, but we got wrapped up in the story and everything. But, yep, that's my Greg story.
Well, it's probably the best Greg story ever. I mean,
well.
for you.
I guess.
That's pretty awesome. Yep.
Well, I guess that's a wrap for tonight. Yeah. Next week?
I don't know. The bar is set high now. How are we gonna?
How we top that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, guess we're done.
Yeah, and that's it.
It's been fun playing podcast.
Bye.
We'll have to get more stories, more people.
I've got some people who are willing to tell their stories. I've got quite a few, I think.
We need people to like, share, follow,
subscribe, tell your
something.
Friends, rent a billboard.
Rent a billboard, paint a billboard, something.
Some skywriting.
Oh, you remember whenever when we lived in Ohio and you went to one of the Browns games and you were like, those people are crazy because they paint, they're like naked.
Yep, they
paint their chest.
team on them.
Yes,
yep.
That's what we need. We need people to do that.
If you will paint Remember the Times podcast on your bare chest, we will have you on. We'll have you on.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
All right.
If you streak through the streets of Atlanta.
So Greg's gonna have to retro, because we got him on without doing the advertising for us.
And another thing, if any of y'all will if y'all have a crazy story like that, man, we'd love to talk to you. Absolutely, man. You come on and talk to us, and just just
if you're listening, you probably know us.
Yeah.
Because that's the only people that are actually listening at this point.
But if you're not, email us at rttimespodcast@gmail.com. We'd be happy to have you on one night.
Yeah. Either on the phone or in front of a mic.
Yep.
Either way.
All right. Well, until next time.
Yep.
See y'all.
See ya.
Bye.